Have you ever had your whole world turned upside down in just one phone call? Well, buckle up because that's exactly what happened to me. And honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this crazy story. You know those wild tales about mean neighbors and rule-crazy HOAs that you see online? Yeah, I used to think those were just made up, but boy was I wrong. This is my story, and trust me, it's wilder than anything you've ever heard. So here's how it all started. I'm just living my regular life when my phone rings. It's some fancy lawyer I've never met before. At first, I thought it was one of those fake calls trying to sell me something. But this guy was real. He tells me my great-uncle Bob just died. Now, Uncle Bob was this quiet old man who barely talked at family parties. He'd just sit in the corner eating potato salad and watching everyone else. But here's the shocking part. He left me everything in his will. Not my mom, not my dad, not anybody else. Just me. I figured maybe he left me his old truck or something small like that. After dealing with all the boring paperwork for months, I finally get the papers that say what I own. I open them up and my jaw just drops. 50 acres of land. Not 5, not 15, 50 whole acres. It's way out in the country, about 2 hours from my house. The papers say this land has been in our family since way back, when my great-great-grandpa used to farm it with horses. Life got busy, so it took me 3 whole months before I could drive out to see this land. I packed some snacks, got in my car, and started driving. The city slowly turned into farms and trees. About halfway there, I started seeing these fancy signs everywhere. Sunset Village Phase 1 and Meadowbrook Phase 2. All these new neighborhoods with big stone gates and fake waterfalls. I thought, wow, rich people sure love their fancy names. But then something weird happened. My phone's map said I was getting close to my land, but instead of seeing empty fields, I saw houses everywhere. Big, beautiful houses with perfect green lawns and kids playing in yards. There was even a sign that said, "Welcome to Sunset Village Phase 3. I thought I made a wrong turn, but I checked my map 3 times. This was definitely the right place. So I parked my car and just stood there like a dummy, staring at all these million-dollar homes built right where my land was supposed to be. I drove around until I found a small building with a sign that said, Community Center. Turns out it was where the HOA people worked from. I walked in, and the lady at the front desk gave me this fake smile, like I was some kind of trouble. I asked who I could talk to about property lines and land ownership. Next thing I know, I'm sitting across from the HOA president. This lady looked like she stepped out of a magazine. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect everything. But her smile was as fake as a $3 bill. I showed her all my papers and told her very nicely that I own the land all these houses are sitting on. Her face went from fake nice to angry in about 2 seconds. That's impossible, she said, rolling her eyes. She told me the land was bought fair and square by the building company years ago. I stayed calm and asked if I could see their papers because mine clearly show that I own this land. She waved her hand at me like I was bothering her and said, "That's old news. The deal is done. Go home." Well, that made me mad, but I didn't yell or anything. I just left and went straight home to call a lawyer. I found this old lawyer who's been doing this job for like 100 years. He looked at all my papers and said, "Yep, this land is yours all right, but let's make sure before we start any big fights." He hired people to measure the land properly and dug through all the old records at the courthouse. What he found was unbelievable. The building company had filed all their paperwork, but they used the wrong address for the land. It was like a giant game of telephone where everyone got the message wrong. All 30 houses were sitting right on MY land. And get this, a few years ago, when Uncle Bob was getting really sick, the building company tried to buy his land. When he didn't answer their letters, they just decided to build on it anyway. They made up some fake survey to make it look legal. With all this proof, my lawyer sent a letter to the HOA and the building company asking them to explain themselves. Within just a few days, their lawyers were calling us nonstop, wanting to have a meeting. So we all got together, me, my lawyer, their lawyers, some big boss from the building company, And yes, that HOA president looking like she just ate a sour pickle. Their lawyers started making excuses, saying they thought they were doing the right thing. But my lawyer wasn't buying it. He said, good intentions don't give you the right to build 30 houses on someone else's land. They tried to offer me a tiny amount of money, like my land was still empty farmland. My lawyer just laughed and said, this isn't farmland anymore. You turned it into a gold mine. Then he gave them two choices. Either tear down all 30 houses and give me back my empty land, or pay me what it's really worth now, plus extra money for using my land without permission. They all looked terrified. The HOA president whispered, you can't really expect us to lose our homes, can you? I told her, I didn't create this mess. The building company did. But I'm not just going to let them steal my land for free. For months, things got really tense. The people who lived in the houses found out what was happening, and some of them started sending me angry messages, while others begged me not to take their homes away. I felt bad for them, but I told everyone, I don't want to hurt anyone, but I can't just let someone steal my inheritance. The building company tried every dirty trick in the book. They called me greedy, threatened to sue me back, and even tried to get all the homeowners to gang up on me. But my lawyer was like a guard dog protecting me. At the first court hearing, the judge took one look at all the evidence and basically said, yep, this land belongs to him. He told the building company they better think real hard before taking this to a big trial. That's when everything changed. Suddenly, they wanted to make a real deal. They offered me $15 million. Plus, they'd pay all my lawyer fees. Plus, they'd give money to help any homeowners who got hurt by this mess. And here's the best part. They had to kick out the lying HOA board and let people vote for new ones. The deal got done. The building company had to pay up, though their insurance covered most of it. The homeowners got to keep their houses, but their monthly fees went up a little bit. And me, I couldn't believe it. I went from regular guy to millionaire overnight just by standing up for what was mine. I put most of the money in the bank, gave some charity, and bought myself a nice new house. Definitely not in that neighborhood, though. Before I close this chapter, I drove through one last time. The lawn still looked perfect, but I could see that mean HOA president packing boxes into her car, probably getting ready to move out. When she saw me, she looked away real quick. I just gave her a little wave. Later, my lawyer told me the truth. The survey mistake wasn't really a mistake at all. They just figured Uncle Bob would die and nobody would ever find out. Well, joke's on them. If there's one thing I learned from all this, it's simple. Know what belongs to you. Fight for it. And never let bullies think you won't stand up for yourself. Sometimes justice takes a while, but when it shows up, it's worth the wait.